So the final, much neglected ITIL tower, or discipline, sub-discipline, is continual service improvement. And there's a bit that everyone remembers, which is service reviews or performance reviews. And then there's the more proactive stuff. So the first discipline, if you like, or sub-discipline, is doing a service review. Now, if you're buying a service from a supplier, you would expect them to turn up and explain how the service is going. You would expect them to tell you what problems they've got. You would expect them to tell you what changes they're aware of. You would expect them to be the experts in the service that you are buying. Now, if you're buying a standard service, you're unlikely to get someone turn up at your office and talk about that level of detail. But if you're paying a lot of money, you would expect TLC associated with your service, and you would do that in the service review. And depending on the complexity of the service review will be probably monthly. It could be daily if it's that important, quarterly, but either way, it needs a set agenda, and you need to work through all of the attributes of the service to make sure that you have captured and reviewed what's going on in the service. And you should also oblige the service provider to give you ideas on how to improve the service. So, if they're aware of all the problems and they're aware of the changes that are likely to hit, they should be able to tell you, what they're going to change to make it better. And that drives continual service improvement. So the service review is the most important sort of tenet, if you like, about a CSI or continual service improvement program. And most people, have that in their contracts. The bits that people forget is really in the context of service reviews, how is the relationship working and what innovation is there that the supplier can bring to make the service better. So rather than just looking at problems they've had, they should really give you an awareness of what's changing in the marketplace. Is there any new technology they can embrace? Is there anything that you as a customer is doing wrong? Making sure you've got the relationship and innovation and the sort of conversation that gives you an open, honest review process is really, really important. So that service review is really the key part of CSI and making sure that all works. The other part of that, which is a slightly different, probably a bit more detailed, is process evaluation. Now that is looking at all the processes inside the service and around the service to make sure they're working correctly. Now, you might not have the right metrics in place to see how that works, but a lot of people have a gut feel to say, this user has had a problem raising a ticket associated with changing a password. And so, looking at the process for changing a password in that regard might mean that you can automate something and make it even better. So that continuous service improvement isn't just about service metrics, it's about processes and making sure you identify problem processes that you can then fix as part of that evaluation. A lot of people deploy other tools to support continual service improvement. A common one is a customer satisfaction survey, or based on all sorts of different metrics. A lot of people use NPS scores, but there's lots of good practice to see what goes on with regards to how satisfied your customer of your service is, and that obviously informs continuous service improvement. So again, making sure you've got a process where the supplier or your internal IT function are performing customer satisfaction surveys, getting feedback from the users, is really a key part of that continuous service improvement part. And the final, probably more procurement based, but again, it depends on what you're doing, is benchmarking is another core part of that CSI or customer service, continuous service improvement process. So checking that your service is operating in line with market conditions, making sure that you're paying the right amount, that's the usual benchmarking focus, but also, are you getting the right help desk scores? Are you getting the right availability? All those sort of things should be tested with a more formal benchmark if you feel it's appropriate. The heavens are about to open. I've donned my coat. The greyness over there is ridiculous, but I'm not going to get Harry to pan round because he'll get wet too. So I'm going to stop this point before we get into service level metrics and try and find somewhere dry to talk about it.